Some of my favorite memories growing up are just running around, playing in the neighborhood like we used to do back in the day, riding our bikes until dusk, and lemonade stands. I always loved, this must have been my entrepreneurial background, but I always loved selling lemonade and Kool-Aid back in the day. I graduated with 2 degrees from the University of Illinois in Champaign. I came in with a year's worth of AP credits, and I knew that I didn't want to come back home in 3 years. So I was like, hey, how about I get the 2nd degree in German language, because I had been taking it all through high school and I just continued. So after I graduated from Illinois, I got a job in M&A and mergers and acquisitions with Arthur Andersen. What made me leave my job in M&A and go to the family business was this one moment in time. My dad had become the sole owner of a manufacturing business. Every day he would look at me and he would say, I think you're kind of bored with what you're doing. Why don't you come and work for me? So finally we were sitting outside on our deck in the suburbs, and he said, why don't you come and work for me? Because I can put that useless German degree to use, because he wanted us to set up business in Europe. And I said, Dad, what am I gonna do for you? And he looked at me and he said, don't ever ask me that question again. You're only limited to your own ambition. And so I thought, only limited to your own ambition, what does that mean? And it kept echoing in my mind for 24 hours. 48 hours later, I quit my job, joined the family business, and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. After our company was acquired, the rest of my family retired, and I stayed on until 2006, where I learned in a big corporation, even as, an acquired part of a business, if you do a good job, the next step is they want to promote you. We would love to promote you and move you to a bigger facility and run it in Nashville. And I thought, okay, I think I'm done with this now. And so I left the company with no plan. I had a 2-year-old at home. I knew I probably wanted to have a second. I felt very isolated. I felt very trapped. Suddenly I was at home in a role that I had never played 24/7, and it was hard for me. The first crucial step I took to building the company is probably a step you won't anticipate. And it was part of getting out of that well of darkness. I had thought about dating for so long and I wanted to do this, but I feared failure. I feared rejection. I feared what would people think. And so one day I read an article about failure versus regret. And so I had this immediate picture in my mind when I closed the magazine of failure and regret. And now I have 1 kid and I'm picturing myself as an old lady sitting in a rocking chair. And I thought to myself, here's a story of failure I could tell my grandkids. I started this company when I was in my 30s and it was a complete train wreck. But here's some of the things that I learned from it, and here's where it ultimately got me. And then I played out the story of regret in my mind. Pouring the lemonade, which was, you guys don't ever do what I did. I wanted to do something, but I was so afraid of doing it that I never did it. So I don't want you to do that. I was like, well, the regret story is far worse than the failure story. That was the first step. After that, I went to a conference in Weehawken, New Jersey that was put on by matchmakers and date coaches. And I thought, if I can make it through this conference weekend, and if I like the people and I like the ethics and the values of this industry, I'll do it. And that's how I started. Think about us like you would personal trainers for your love life. So we help people clear out the cobwebs of old dating patterns. We help them to understand who a partner is that's going to make them happy. We get them online, we do photos, we have the perfect template to write the perfect online profiles that'll start to attract the right people. And then we're in the weeds. We're looking at profiles, we're like, ooh, that's a red flag, get rid of that one. This one is a good one, keep them in. So we're walking the whole journey with our clients. The way to think about online dating, number 1, is to think about it as the world's largest cocktail party. Think about it as your profile and your photos. Most people don't think about it this way. This is your personal marketing in cyberspace, right? So your photos have to be the best version of you, the version that's gonna show up to the date though, not over-filtered, over-face-tuned, whatever it is, but you've gotta have 6 great photos of yourself, and then your text in your profile should be positive. Don't lead with, do not contact me if you don't look like your photos, if you're, underemployed. And the things I read every day kind of make me go, wow, if you're spewing negativity out there, what do you think is gonna come back to you? Negative people. About 3 years ago, a great success story is a pretty well-known podcaster and her partner, Sherry Salata and Nancy Holla. Somehow fate conspired to have Sherry and me hop on a call together, and she says, "Oh, what do you do? That's so interesting. My business partner and best friend is single, Nancy Holla. So how about you put Nancy through your process? We'll podcast about it, and then we'll report into our listeners as to what happened." So Nancy flew to Chicago, started working with me as her dating coach, and she met an amazing man, and she's getting married next month, and she's never been happier. Some of the most common mistakes that people make in the dating scene are getting rid of people too quickly. We expect to feel fireworks, chemistry, poof, and so we throw away people that aren't good for us too early, and we keep the people in that we have instant chemistry with that probably are not good for us. A good relationship should feel easy overall, right? If it's hard, soul-sucking, filled with drama, you feel like you're on a roller coaster all the time, and somebody's making you feel bad about yourself and being controlling, those are all red flags. You don't need to ever settle for that. One of the biggest things I would have done differently is believing that I could succeed at this and coming in with a plan. My ultimate fear, as I said before, was what business do I have doing this, right? I knew I had coached so many people that I know and match made so many people, but I think believing that I could make this work and coming in with here's a 1 year, a 5 year, and a 10-year plan, I didn't do that. It's like the first few years where, can I really do this? Can I really do this? It looks like it. So I think just having that core confidence in myself would have said, okay, here's the plan, and we would be much farther along than we are at this point, but we're trying to make up for lost time. What I'm most proud of at Smart Dating Academy is when I look through all of the wedding photos and I get baby announcements. It gives me goosebumps to even say that. I save every single one of them to know that the work that we're doing is putting more love into the world is the most rewarding thing of all. What we're doing is helping people to create generations of love. Personally, I'm most proud of keeping my life together. I have a great husband. We'll be married 25 years this coming year, who without him, I wouldn't have been able to start a business like this, doing the things that I've done, and having great relationships with my own family of origin and with my 2 kids. Those are the things that mean the most to me. If you're listening to this, I hope that by the end, you feel what I call psychotically optimistic, right? Whether you're single, if you're single, and in that 48% of single adults, I hope that you feel like, wow, love exists for me. It's a when, it's not an if. Like, I'm gonna find the lid to my pot, and there is a good way for me to do that systematically and not do the same things I've always done before. I hope that you feel a little bit of that hope and psychotic optimism.